To understand a multidimensional array, see it as a two-dimensional array. That is, an array that is being read as rows and columns, bearing in mind that the starting index is 0. Now, using our example of fish, as we saw in the index array, let's assume we have a given stock available and quantity of each sold. To store such data in an array, we'll be using a two-dimensional array, which is the multi-dimensional array. So instead of just having tilapia fish, catfish, titus, and mackerel in our array of fish, we also have the amount of tilapia fish in stock, the amount of catfish in stock, the amount of titus in stock, and the amount of mackerel in stock. Also, we have the quantity of tilapia sold, the quantity of catfish sold, the quantity of titus sold, and the quantity of mackerel sold. So this is a two-dimensional array. So heading over to Sublime Text, let's go to our multiarray.php and create a multi-dimensional array using our fish example as we saw in the table. Now open the PHP tag and let's say example of a multi-dimensional array. Now, using the example of fish as we saw in the table is going to look quite different from the index array.php because this is not just a straightforward array. So it's going to look like this: fish is equals to array parentheses. Remember, this is a nested array, that is an array inside another array. So that's the reason for the spacing. So we have array is equals to parentheses tilapia fish, comma, in stock we have 40 and the quantity sold 10, comma, we have another array of catfish, in stock we have 50 and quantity sold we have 25, comma, we have another array of titus fish, in stock we have 83 and quantity sold we have 50. It's like this fish is very sweet and proteinous, so I don't know. And the last but not the least, we have another array of mackerel, in stock 15, sold 3. And so we close this block of code. This is a multi-dimensional array. As you can see that the main array here is housing 4 other arrays within it. So you can either call it a nested array or multi-dimensional array. And remember, I said they can be read as rows and columns. Now if you look at these items here, we have the first row having an index of 0. We have the second row with an index of 1. We have the third row with an index of 2. And we have the fourth row with an index of 3. Also, if you take a look at it this way, we have the first column here with an index of 0, and we have the second column here with an index of 1, and we have the third column here with an index of 2. So this means outputting a multi-dimensional array will be quite different from outputting the index or an associative array. So let's see an example. Outputting multi-dimensional arrays. Okay, let's say echo fish, index of 2 and index of 1, and echo fish, index of 1 and index of 2, and echo fish, index of 3 and index of 0. Now when we run this on the web browser, this first statement here will output the number 83. This will output 83. And when we run this on the web browser, this will output 25. This will output 25. Also, when we run this on the web browser, it will output mackerel. Okay, so let me explain better. Now, remember I said the multidimensional array is read as rows and columns. So when you say echo fish index 2 index 1, you are saying output the item with an index of 2 in the row and an index of 1 in a column. So the item with an index of 2 in the row is this third row, row 3. Row 3 has an index of 2. Remember I said it starts from index 0. So this is row 1 with an index of 0. This is row 2 with an index of 1. And this is row 3 with an index of 2. So this first statement said output the item with an index of 2 in the row and with an index of 1 in the column. So in this case, this is the right row. Row 3 is having an index of 2. Okay, now so you know that row 3 is a row with the index of 2. Then it said, then output the item in the column with an index of 1. Now the next thing after we've known our row is to find the item in with an index of 1. Now taking a look at row 3, which is this, we have the first item here, titles, with an index of 0. We have the second item here, 83, with an index of 1. And we have the third item here, 50, with an index of 2. So that means when you run this on the web browser, our result will be 83, because this is the item with an index of 2 in the row and an index of 1 in the column. It stands the same for the second statement here. It says echo fish with an index of 1 and an index of 2. That is to say, echo output the item with an index of 1 on the row and an index of 2 on the column. So which row item has an index of 1? This, the second row, has an index of 1. And what item has the index 2? So this is catfish, index 0. The stock they have, which is index 1. And this is the quantity sold, that's index 2. So this will output 25 on the web browser. Also, the third statement here, echo fish index 3 on the row and index 0 on the column. So our index 3 is the last row here, 0, 1, 2, 3. So this is our index 3, and then index 0 on the column is mackerel, which is the very first item on this list. So when you run this on the web browser, it's going to output mackerel. So this is how multi-dimensional array work. They are being read as rows and columns, starting with an index key of 0. So Once you understand this very, very well, it will not be confusing at all. Okay, so let's run this on the web browser and see what it will give us. Okay, we have to change this to multiarray.php. Wow, we got a pass error. So it said syntax error, unexpected comma in our root directory, that is in multiarray.php on line 7. So we have an unexpected comma on line 7. Let's see what that means. Perhaps this. So let's get rid of this and see what it will bring next to help us better figure out what the problem is. Still the same error. So let's take a closer look at our code and see where our mistake is coming from. Okay, I made a fatal mistake. Now if you take a look at this array, you can see it's kind of is colored, but the arrays I listed here are not. I included the $sign in all of them, which is not supposed to be. So it's not a variable, it's an array. It's supposed to look just like this. So I'm going to remove this $sign in all these arrays and then put back our comma. And so let's save and see if that solved the problem. Okay, it said syntax error, unexpected equals sign, expecting a parenthesis on line 7. So it said unexpected equals sign, expecting a parenthesis. Okay, wow, sorry for this error, but it's very important to have some of these errors to better understand what you've written. Okay, so come back to this array. If you see, when we say array, there is nothing like an equality sign before this equals to something like this. So we are not supposed to do that either here. So that's what it means, unexpected equals sign. It's not supposed to be. So let's see if that solved the problem. It should. So refresh, and here we are. So to make this readable, let's echo this one by one. So we are commenting out the second and third statement. So when you say echo fish index of 2 and index of 1, you're saying output the item with the index of 2 on the row and the index of 1 on the column, which is 83 here. So Ctrl S, and here 83. So now when we say, we'll comment this out. When we say echo fish index of 1, index of 2, it means index 1 on the row, index 2 on the column, and this is the index 1 on the row and index 2, 0, 1, 2 on the column. So this is going to give us 25. Ctrl S, here 25. Lastly, we comment this out and we say echo fish index of 3 on the row and index of 0 on the column. So these are row. The first row index 0, the second row index of 1, the third row index of 2, and the fourth row with an index of 3. So this is the row. Now it has another index 0 on the column, which is this very first item here, mackerel. So when we run this on the web browser, it's going to output mackerel. Ctrl S, and here we are. So this is how to write a multidimensional array is quite different from the index array and the associative array, in the sense that it is read as rows and columns. So with this understanding, you'll be able to write even more complex multidimensional arrays, as we saw from the table of fish.